All right. So anybody wanted to start? I'll start. My name is Dr. Constance Leland. Thank you so much for coming today. Some of you are my students from my CSA 100 or BSM 465. So thank you for being here. And once a month, I run a free workshop, and it's always different workshop. Amber, hello, sister. She was on our last workshop on financial education, I believe. And I don't know if you were with Henna as well for business communications. No, yeah. So January, I'm going to run a vision boarding. I usually do vision board workshop to set you up for the year. And that actually helped me run my podcast, run my business, work full-time, work part-time, being a mom, being an author in the book like crazy lately, and also run a project, run a live stream, and run an audio room with Nicole, and also support our sisters like Amber on her show and her podcast, right? And so today's a lot of great ideas from Angelica. Hi, Paris. And basically providing information on inclusivity and how we're moving from traditional leadership to heart-centered ones, because obviously we know it's not working. And so we got to try something, right? We can't just get the rock and keep hitting our head like, why am I bleeding? Well, you're bleeding for a reason. So today is going to be wonderful. We're going to be graced by Angelica. Angelica, sister, if you could turn on your mic so we can see your beautiful face, that would be great. And then go ahead and start introducing yourself. There you are. Amber, can you start introducing yourself to us? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So my name is Amber Hollowell. I'm a health advocate. And right now, I'd say my biggest platform is trans rights. I'd say trans and women's reproductive health are my two biggest. Anything that really revolves around bodily autonomy is that is my passion. And actually, Constance had kind of put a post out there the other day about what drives you. And for me, I had the luxury, the gift from a friend of a group here on LinkedIn who let me do this course over the summer. And it was you were trying to figure out what your passion was. And why that was your passion. And so their whole theme of their room is align your purpose or your passion with your purpose. And so they really kind of helped me hone in on that. It wasn't just health advocacy that I wanted to do, but it really wrapped around bodily autonomy, and that wrapped around my own history, my personal history of a lot of different types of assaults, and that had been stripped from me. Those choices have been stripped from me. And that I didn't want other people to have that choice stripped from them. And so that's the reason why that is my purpose. My son, I also have a 25-year-old trans son. And so that's what pushes me to fight for trans rights, is to make sure that he is included, he is accepted, that he can walk around and go to a bathroom, get a bank account, go get an apartment, get a spouse, do whatever he wants like the rest of us. And so that's what drives me. So I would say Constance, when you put this out there, heart-centered leadership is what I do. Like it's all from the heart. And honestly, I feel like that is where we are shifting to, because we treated people in boxes for so long as just numbers that I think COVID kind of expressed when everybody had to go home to work out of office. We realized that those relationships didn't work for us anymore. And that's why you still have 20% of people haven't returned to work, because they realized that didn't work for them anymore. And I think we are going to have to shift to a more heart-centered leadership so that we include all parts of the employee's life, because that does matter. Whether or not I go to a job and you have health benefits for my son, that matters to me. Whether or not my boss believes in that. I want to be able to brag about my kid in an office setting as much as my boss can. And because my kid is trans, I don't ever know if I can speak about my kid freely and who's going to react to that. So I feel like that is where we're moving, is this heart-centered leadership. So that's the reason why I signed up. I was like, I got to go.
Awesome. Welcome. I know what you stand for, and I'm glad that we have like freedom of speech is what I'm teaching in First Amendment right now in my class for law. It's business law, ethics, and communication. And it's so amazing. I've learned so much. And now I'm like, okay, I need to find some copyright laws and lawyer out there to really engage with the law because you can only know so much, right? And that's not my powerhouse and that's not my zone of genius. But I can relate to certain things that they're talking, and it's amazing. It's a double-edged sword, right? If you ask something, it might be given, but it also gives the other people other things. So it's kind of crazy. Paris, welcome. Introduce yourself and how did you find out about this event and what is your platform or why are you here today?
Hi, I'm actually here because I work with Miss Angelica Castro with Revolutionary Love, and I also work with NIM. And I'm just kind of starting out there. I was starting a homeschool business, Alma Mama U, in response to basically the whole COVID situation, this mass shootings, and just, the school shootings and stuff, and just not really feeling safe with bringing my children to school. And it could be some social anxiety there, I mean, separation anxiety there as well, but just being able to take control over the education because like Amber was saying, like this world is changing, and we have to basically approach it from a heart, center perspective versus what we were doing prior, like ego. It's no longer egocentric, and so I just feel like if we just take that step and make it a change, then one person can be the change that they want to see in this world. So I'm just
Well,
here
thank
to
you.
learn more.
Yes, and welcome. Randall, I don't know if he's working. He's one of my students. So I don't know if he's working. And I told him if they can't talk, just kind of type in. But Oliver has his camera on, so it's your turn, Oliver. Introduce yourself and what you're all about. You're on mute, brother. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, I brought my heart with me because it's the topic heart leadership. And so I'm from Belgium. My name is Olivier, and I've been really curious about leadership since 3 years already. I was attending, by instance, the Servant Leadership Summit, where I was hearing from Ken Blanchard and others, and also the People First Economy Summit. So I was really curious, and this is really something that I would like to engage more, to bring the heart, to bring, in fact, our first brain. This is our first brain. Not only this one matters, but also this one, our heart. So that's it for me. I'm a new language coach and I'm really language enthusiast. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Raphael, Lara online together. Ooh, Charles, I don't see no Raphael in here. Okay, so they're so funny. My students are so funny. They're working adults. Most of them are in the military, so they're probably in the office trying to log in to be here. So we'll go ahead and bring it to Angelica, and then after you introduce yourself, feel free to go ahead and start.
Okay, and I think Randall, I saw them unmute themselves, so maybe they wanted to say something.
Randall, did you wanted to say hello? Can you talk, Randall?
Yeah, hi, I'm Randall. Yeah, I was just started to type. So, but
Oh, no.
anyway, yeah, I'm just a student from Oxnard, and I saw this email to us by Doc Leland, our teacher for BSM 465. It's an opportunity to learn some more new things, and of course, it doesn't hurt to have the extra credit for her class. That's it. Thanks.
You're welcome. Yes, I always tell them I have a lot of extra credit to bump up their grades because this class can be difficult. And Randall's been helping me to like, this question is questionable. And I was like, okay, I'll look at it over again. I haven't forgotten about you, Randall. I don't create the classes, somebody else does. So that's the beauty of bureaucratic red tape. It takes a long time to process everything because I don't have control over it. What I do have control is providing extra information beyond the classroom. And you know that I'm all about providing service beyond the classroom, because education should not just be theory, but in action, and followed by action. So thank you so much, Randall. Angelica,
you.
go ahead.
Okay, welcome everyone, and thank you. First of all, I want to thank you. Thank so much gratitude to Dr. Constance Leland, aka CJ, aka my new sister from another mother. Your heart, and you're a perfect one to host this, because you are so heart-centered. In the little bit of time I've known you, I see your heart. I see the way that you show up for people, elevate people, and really accelerate people's businesses and their platforms and what they're doing. So thank you to you for inviting me to be here. And welcome everyone. I already am resonating with each of you as you shared. I have my rock heart right here as well. Yes, and so and Amber, I also have and I'll talk about her. I have a trans daughter. She's 25. Came out when she was 21, and so yeah, just so important, to, again, the work that we're all doing together, and we're not on this journey alone. So I'm happy that you all showed up, and I am here to learn also from you all as much as you all are here to learn from me. And I love these spaces where we can co-create and co-learn together. So, and I don't know if we want to bring Jerry in. Jerry, you just came in and we're just getting started. Did you want to introduce yourself, why you're here, and who you are, how you found out about this?
And I was trying to type, I'm like, Jerry, do you want to introduce yourself to all of us? And there's like, ooh. Sometimes when you're in a room full of people you don't know, you're like, I don't know if I want to unmute. And he said, good morning. It's a safe space. Come on in. At least he said good morning. So I know you guys are cheaters. I had my heart. I don't know where my heart went. I took it out. I have a quartz heart that has the tree of life kind of attached to it, because my daughter, which I don't have, good thing she didn't see me, I took her quartz little what do you call this, bracelet she gave me, and I had a lot of like issues, like personal issues in the last 2 weeks, so she bought me another crystal for like good positivity, good energy, and things like that. And when I put it in, things did come my way. So I was like, I can't take it off, but I took a shower. So good thing my daughter didn't see me take it off this morning. She gives me a hard time for everything. So yeah. Well, go ahead, Angelica, go ahead and start, and then we'll go.
Thank you. And thank you, Paris, for showing up. And Paris does a lot of work with me. We just actually facilitated Leading with Love yesterday for a school nearby. So this is perfect. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Type in my password. Okay. Hopefully you all are seeing this. Let me just play it. Okay, awesome. So, so this is just a little bit about myself. And I am the revolutionary love coach, and really it's, the love and you'll learn is really about listening, openness, vulnerability, and empathy. And we'll go into that more. But as you can see, circled around love is justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. And as Dr. Constance said, that is the work that I'm really, love is in the center, at the heart of it, right? And it's always thinking about how we can make this world more just, more equitable, more diverse, and more inclusive. And so, let me just see. I think I just have to move this Zoom. Okay, there we go. I'm playing it, but
maybe move your arrow or space bar.
Yeah, I tried both. Okay, there. I think I tried it, both of them. So I just wanted to get started with a collective centering, just like 3 collective centering breaths. And I try to start all of my sessions with this because people are coming from different places, just different time zones. Some people are just waking up. Some people, are maybe getting ready to go to sleep. So depending where you're tuning in from, I just wanted to bring us together with 3 collective breaths. And so I invite you to either close your eyes if that feels comfortable, or soften your gaze, maybe looking down at the floor in front, or looking at something in front of you. And you can turn off your camera if that's helpful. And just take a moment to get in touch with your breath, feeling your belly rise, feeling your chest expand as you take an inhale in through your nose. And sometimes I'll put a hand on my belly and one hand on my heart, and just feeling that expansion as you inhale. And then exhaling through the mouth, just letting any tension go. Any tension you're holding, I usually hold mine in my neck, my upper back and shoulders. We're just breathing that out. And taking another collective breath in through your nose. See if you can ground your feet to the earth, with the floor underneath you, and feeling the strength of the earth. Inhale, that groundedness, that strength, and just feel that life force move through your body. Again, feeling your belly rise and chest expand. And as you exhale, just breathing out anything that doesn't serve you, any defensiveness or fear or doubt, maybe chaos. Just put that aside for now. Anything that you have on your mind, you can get back to that later. And see if you can just come to present. And let's take one more big collective breath together. Again, in through the nose, breathing in possibilities, interconnectedness, possibilities, love. And see how that feels moving through your body. And as you exhale, just breathing that back out into the world. More hope, possibilities, connection. And then just take one more breath on your own, at your own pace. And I invite you to set an intention for for our time together in the next hour, or, for the rest of your week, or for the rest of your day. And it could be a small intention of just being present. It could be huge, like, go outside your comfort zone today, and whatever it is, it's the right thing for you, and just ground that intention in with a breath. And then when you're ready, when you feel grounded, centered, present, just bring your attention back into the space. And if you're able to, feel free to turn on your camera so we can see each other. And if you can, I know we can't see everyone, but I always invite us to just see if we can see each other for our shared humanity. And the beauty of Zoom is you could actually see yourself. And so you can see yourself. How often do we actually look at ourselves and see ourselves and just offer gratitude to ourselves for showing up? Here you are showing up for this, to learn more about leading with love and moving to more of a heart-centered leadership model. So congratulate yourself for that. Let me just check the chat just to make sure there's no one chatting. Jedi on fire, yes. Okay. So, welcome to Level Up Academy. Thank you, Dr. Leland, for putting this together. Traditional leadership to heart-centered leadership. And so, what does it take to become a heart-centered leader? And so the agenda today, just so folks are aware, collective breaths. We did introductions already. I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I'll introduce the love formula, and we'll practice a little bit of love in here. And why lead with love? So I'll talk a little bit about Castro Collaborative, how that was born from leading with love, and then any questions and takeaways. So I am the revolutionary love coach, and I am the founder and head of transformation for Castro Collaborative. And so I have over 25 years, and I use she, and I have over 25 years of experience working collaboratively with organizations and institutions as a community engagement specialist. I spent 10 years recently at working for a college as the associate director of community engagement, bringing communities together. I'm a certified leadership consultant and coach. I have my certification in coaching for transformation from New York City. I'm a certified community mediator and intergroup dialogue facilitator as well. And I practice meditation and yoga, again, to center and ground. Again, when you talk about heart-centered leadership, like, starts with ourselves. And so I have a Bachelor of Science in Community Health and Theater. So I believe in the arts and really bringing people together. I have a master's in Educational Psychology and Social Justice Education. And I have, over the last, again, 25 years, trained board of directors, administrators, healthcare and holistic practitioners. I worked for Kaiser for a long time. Educators and youth. I love working with youth and a lot of leadership teams on and communities, and how to co-create. I love co-creating because it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about us working together to co-create inclusive systems, processes, environments that promote well-being and connection. And so my courageous commitment and powerful intention is to spread love, light, and liberation by facilitating transformation in spaces, revolutionizing organizations and institutions that I work with, and offering listening circles and healing spaces so we can all feel seen, heard, and valued, which is, for me, the most important part of my work, is making sure everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. And my grown children, their ages 27, 25, 19, and 16, are my biggest teachers. They have truly taught me a lot and how to show up in love. And so you all got a chance to introduce yourselves. And so I just wanted to say love is my thing, right? Like, it is not our differences that divide us. It is our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences, as a quote that I love by Audre Lorde. And so just a little bit more about what is love for me. And so the love formula for me is really listening, as I mentioned, openness, vulnerability, and empathy. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that. Listening is really, when we think about listening, how can we listen to understand? A lot of us listen to respond. We're already thinking about a response before we even fully hear what the other person has to share. So how can we really practice listening just to understand someone, really taking them in? And I loved when I learned this, like, listen is actually has the same letters as silent. So you can't listen when you're talking. And as Dr. Leland said the other day, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen more, right? And speak less. And so that's a practice, because we're not raised like that. And we see it modeled, right? Our parents kind of telling us, and authority, and right, that we are really listening to respond, or sometimes we're not even heard. And so this is a revolutionary practice, is to really listen. Openness. how can we open ourselves to different perspectives by practicing curiosity and cultural humility, right? There's so many different cultures, just even in this call alone, different cultures, backgrounds. And so there are so many different ways to show up. There's no right or wrong way. There's just different ways to show up. And so we practice curiosity and cultural humility. We can really open our hearts and our minds to each other. Vulnerability. How can we co-create a brave space by sharing authentically and sitting in discomfort? And oftentimes, we stay distracted because we don't want to sit in discomfort, and that's part of the work of really leading with love, is really sitting in discomfort and sitting with others in discomfort, and so that's where empathy comes in. How do we hold a spirit of empathy where we can feel with others versus sympathy, where sometimes it's like feeling or judging others, kind of like, oh yeah, but really feeling like maybe tapping into something within your own life that generates that same feeling, so you can really step in each other's shoes, even if you don't know exactly what they're going. So we're going to get a chance to practice love. Where did my prompt go? Okay, so I uploaded these and they said I lost some slides. So I'll let you know. So how we practice love, and we're going to do some breakout rooms. So that way we just get a chance to share space with someone else. So we're going to get a chance to practice listening to each other, opening our hearts and minds, to different perspectives, practicing vulnerability. And some of you may be at work or, maybe not in a space to be very vulnerable, but sometimes I think about vulnerability like comfort zone +1. It doesn't have to be kind of this deep, we only have a little bit of time, but just, maybe what you may not necessarily share, and push yourself a little bit. And then practicing empathy, really feeling with one another. And so the prompt is, I always love this because, we all have a name. And so think about your name. And some of us may have positive experiences with our name. Some of us have complicated, I have a complicated relationship with my name, which is Angelica Castro, but sometimes people will call me, and I've been Angelica also, and Angel, but sometimes people will mess it up and call me Angelina and Angelique and just different things. And so, so thinking about your name, I just want you to reflect on your name. What does it mean? Why is it important to you? And so I'm going to give you just a few minutes in groups and like a pair share, just to share a story about your name. If there's a story about your name, like what does it mean? Why were you named that? And just there's no right or wrong for you to share, but just share your name and any significance it has for you. And then we're going to come back. So I'm just going to give you 5 minutes. So maybe each person will get like 2 minutes each. So I'm going to go ahead and.
Okay, I'll put you in breakout room right now, and I'll just pair it to make it more intimate into 2, okay? And then
Great.
I'll the prompt, it's on the message as well. So here we go. Rooms are open.
Okay, and I'll join one as well.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. So tell me, what is your name like? What's your relationship with your name, and why is it important to you?
Oh my goodness. I'm diving right into it, aren't I?
Yeah, you're in the middle of it.
Yes, I am like, okay. So my name, I love it. My name is Raquel. Yes, roll that R because it has that flavor, which is really what kind of like my essence, right? So Raquel for me was given to me by my mom based on the Bible, right? And I love it just because even though it's not as unique, it's still really it really defines who I am. And it really does. The character like Raquel has it has heaviness to it. I think so.
Wow.
But
Wait,
still
what's
that
your full name?
nurturiness.
I want to know your entire full name.
Okay, Raquel Stephanie Flores Pereira.
See, I know it was long. Spanish people and Asian people like Filipinos too. They had just have. I feel like Filipinos and anybody Hispanic have the same like kind of name. I don't know what happened to me, but like I don't have the Spanish name, and I don't even have an Asian name, which is even weird because my mom is Constance. That's why I'm Constance, but her
Mhm.
full name is Constance Jennifer Dablo. That's her maiden name.
Mhm.
So I'm Constance Jeffer, which is little Jennifer, because I kind of look like my mom. And then my dad thought, oh, I'm going to have my name in there too. So then it's Constance Jeffer James, because he's a James.
What?
My great grandfather, who came from China, changed his name from Long Ping to James. I'm like, okay. So then I'm James. And then my mom's maiden name is Dablo. My dad's last name is Chua. And then I'm married. So Constance, Jeffer, James, Dablo, Chua, Leland. Pick name.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my.
That's why
That
CJ. People are like, CJ, Constance, Leland. Wait, isn't it CL? And I'm like, no.
uh,
I have JJ as my middle name, which is Jeffer James.
oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
now the question is, did you carry this tradition with your kids?
No. Well,
Okay.
so like my husband's Italian, so his name was supposed to be Angelo Zarola, right? But then his mom's like, at that time, you don't want to have racism and things, so we're gonna name you as Anglo as possible. So his name
Mhm.
is Thomas, which is also a common name, Tomas, right? Everyone's
Thomas. Yeah.
so then his grandfather, I believe, is William, so he got that. So it's Thomas William Leland, which is his dad. Yeah.
Got it. Wow, that is so interesting. Hi.
Okay, so are we done? Let's close all the rooms.
Hi there, Raquel.
I want to introduce
Hello.
Raquel
Hello.
to Angelica. This is a really great sister introduction. I'll put you guys on coffee chats for sure.
Oh,
Awesome.
awesome.
How was that, Sister Angelica? Was it fun?
Yeah, that was. How was that for folks? I learned so much about my partners in my room.
Me too. Hi, Raquel.
Raquel, you gotta roll that.
Hola,
Raquel.
Raquel. Raquel. There was a flavor in that, it comes with authority. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's right. All right, go ahead.
Awesome.
Angelica.
Well, great. I'm glad everyone got a chance to practice listening. Again, listening to other people's stories. I think it's a good practice before you tell yours, instead of kind of thinking, what am I going to say? Just really holding space for others, opening, right? Just being vulnerable, sharing a little bit. There's a lot of vulnerable stories around names, even for me. And then, empathy, just really feeling with people. So let's move forward. So I just wanted to share kind of why, as I started to do my own healing and, started to practice meditation and sitting in stillness and yoga to think about my energy and elevating my vibration, I think about a lot of, and CJ and I were just talking about this, we can't control necessarily the people around us always, if we're at work or families, right? Like people's energies sometimes are amazing, sometimes it's toxic, sometimes we have low vibration folks around us. And so it's so important to take time for us to really practice being with ourselves and really elevating that vibration. So that's a practice for me when I think about and why it's important to bring up is because a lot of organizations that I've worked with, sometimes, the leadership, and you hear a lot about toxic work environments and toxic leadership. A lot of leaders that I have worked with have had, toxic energy, and it's hard when you go to work. We work all day for hours, all week. And some of us have been at the same job sometimes for a long time. And so I think about the importance of really choosing what energies you're around. And so if we look at this scale, I mean, we can probably think about some of our work environments. And so put in the chat if you think about your work environment or people that you work with, if you get kind of a sense of where are folks are, usually around. I know there's a lot of fear a lot of times, especially what's happening in the world. So people sometimes can stay in that space. I know my mom a lot of times will, text me kind of the news. I don't really watch the news because, again, I want to control my vibration, but sometimes she'll send me stuff and I'm like, oh, and I know she's wanting to help and just to keep me informed, but sometimes that can lower my vibration. And so if you put in the chat right now, kind of where are you feeling like in terms of your energy? And no judgment, right? Sometimes, we might get an argument with our child or our partner. And even if you're having a great day, sometimes you're like in grief. There's a lot of stuff happening. And so this is not a bad or good thing. Sometimes we have stuff happening with our family and we're grieving. And so just to get a sense, where are folks? Nice. Great. Okay, so I could feel the vibration. This is high vibration group, which is awesome. And I even felt that even in our sharing. And so, and again, no judgment if you're sometimes in that, sometimes I feel a lot of guilt and shame, especially as a mom. And I have to then really be mindful about how do I, again, bring myself up to that vibration of love, right? And so, and again, this is just another, I think about when we think about our work environments and, sometimes just a little bit more in depth about like what, grief and fear, right? A lot of worry, anxiety. And seems really normal what's going on in the world, right? There's a lot like climate change and mass shooting, someone just mentioned, right? Like a lot of stuff happening and it's easy to stay in that place of fear. And so we really need to be intentional about really taking that time to raise our vibration. And why this is important is because when I think about leading with love, and I mentioned this the other day, it really starts with ourselves, right? We can't expect to have an organization that's thriving if we are not ourselves working on ourselves. And a lot of times we can't give what we don't have. And so given that, I just wanted to talk a little bit about then how and why I started my own organization and why it was so important to have an organization that was heart-centered. And so I've a lot of toxic stuff happened, at the place where I was working. And so when we parted ways, I vowed to start an organization that was really operating very different from the systems of oppression that were happening there. And so when I founded Castro Collaborative, I really thought, how can I engineer inclusive excellence with heart-centered leadership? And so, my team, I intentionally didn't put out a job description. I thought about who are the folks in my life who resonate with my values of love, of, compassion, of, really, being present and with each other. And so I, reached out to some of my closest sisters in my life, and we came together and founded Castro Collaborative. And so our mission is really supporting organizations, institutions, and teams to engineer inclusive excellence with heart-centered leadership. And our vision, again, is having a commitment to love, right? And we envision a world where love, listening, openness, vulnerability, empathy is at the center of all human interactions. Not some, but all of them. How can we, again, not that we're perfect, but how can we constantly strive for really showing up with love in our homes, in our workspaces, in our relationships, in our communities? And so again, it's a practice. And so we serve, communities, and we really focus on working with leaders, because most organizations, again, if we want an organization to thrive or to be diverse, it has to start with leadership. And so that's our process, is we really partner with dedicated leaders, and leaders who are not folks we have to convince that, love is important, that empathy and compassion and diversity and inclusion is important. So we partner with folks who are already, searching for that. And so our framework is really, again, rooted in love and awareness, alignment, affirmation, and action. And just a little bit more about, our each pillar, I should say. That's really the pillar, the awareness, because you can't, unless you're aware of your own biases and then, start to become aware of what others are holding, right? We can't really move in a place of love. And then really begin to align, with our values, other folks' values. And so this talks a little bit about our process, affirming, affirming each other is huge. And then action, a lot of us learn, but if we can't, put love into action, right? It's just knowledge. And so, and they say, knowledge is power and action is even more powerful. And so it was really important for me as we were co-creating our organization to really have it rooted in justice, equity, diversity, inclusion. And so, justice is really about dismantling barriers. Equity is really thinking about how do we allocate resources for everyone, equitably. Diversity, really thinking about how do we bridge differences amongst us and really finding more collective connections, really. And then inclusion, how do we foster a sense of belonging? And the Surgeon General put out a report a couple of months ago about there being an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. And so how can we co-create spaces where people feel like they belong, where people feel like they can connect, and they can be seen and heard? And so when we thought about what we wanted to offer as an organization, we were, and I started off, when I first started doing this work, I would come into an organization and they just wanted to kind of check off the box, great, thank you for doing that training. And I realized, I was like, that's not really heart-centered, that's performative. I want to work with organizations that really are committed to being heart-centered, that really are committed to doing the work of sitting in discomfort, of really showing up and really analyzing our processes and systems. And so we started working in collaborative partnerships with organizations. And then as we started doing that, we realized there was a lot of trauma and just, toxicity in organizations. So we started holding healing circles and healing retreats within communities and within institutions and organizations. And then again, as the work progressed, I said, wow, we really need to start with the board and leadership, because I realized a lot of organizations who wanted to check the box just wanted us to kind of train their employees, but not really do the work themselves. And that's why I said, no, we have to start with the board and leadership. And so what I found as we continued to build was, people, even though their hearts were there, sometimes they didn't know exactly how to show up. What justice and equity and diversity and inclusion really meant in action. And so I started coaching leaders one-on-one and in groups, just so we can also stay accountable, right? We can say we want something done, but if we're not accountable to each other and continuing to show up. So that's how I, came up, and we co-created our offerings. That's how we thought about it, is because we really wanted to work with organizations and really help hold their hand and really co-create with them. And so these were the offerings. And these are just a little bit more about each offering, how we work, holistically, really thinking about healing, healing in community is really important. And again, this is just reiterating what I said, really thinking about our leaders and how important it is to pour into our leaders, because they're the ones that are really setting the tone for our organizations, our schools, when we think about our children being in schools. And then, and again, right, even as leaders, we can have our hearts in the right place, but sometimes we don't have the skill set. It's like a muscle to build it. And so, so that was important for me to really work with leaders one-on-one and to help build that toolkit. And so these are just some, I always like to share these really compelling statistics of why, sometimes it's like why we do the work we do. And so thinking about, and I won't go through this, but you could just kind of scan some of these as like, inclusive organizations and institutions really do so much better in terms of retention, retaining more diverse workforces. And then you can see also sometimes the lack of, diversity and what happens with organizations, high turnover, low morale. And so those are just some compelling statistics why it's important for us to do the work that we do. And so for me, when I really thought about it, I was like, okay, you know what? Here's the game plan. And so this year, this is what I put into place, the healing circle front, kind of frontline workers, doctors and nurses, folks who are taking care of people are like really burning out. They're showing up for patients and, for their communities, but they're not able to take care of themselves. So I've been doing a lot of healing circles and retreats for teachers, educators, doctors, nurses. And then again, trainings with board and leadership, because I said, that's where we need to start. So I never work with an organization if they're not willing to do the work themselves within the board and the leadership. And then this is Dr. CJ is helping me with visibility podcast appearances. I'm starting to really get myself out there. I've been so into the work and the trenches and doing the work that I don't think about, visibility so much, but I know that's important to be able to spread the work and, to get our message out there. And so I've really, again, talk about vulnerability and discomfort. Even though I have a theater background, being visible is not always easy. And so, and even now it's like, you don't see the sweat dropping, but it's vulnerable. But, my calling is to continue to show up no matter, again, sitting in discomfort, no matter how uncomfortable it is. And then working with nonprofits and grants, and then again, consulting with leadership. And so as a result of this, as I showed up and sitting in discomfort and vulnerable, what started happening was, these organizations started knocking and saying, we want to work with you, come work with us. Colleges and nonprofits and banks, and media companies. And it was really a little bit overwhelming and very fulfilling in so many deep ways, because it's like it just is a confirmation from the universe that this work is important, that there are a lot of organizations that, you know, aren't just talking the talk, but they're ready to walk the walk. So that's some of the organizations we started working with. And then I started to get, you know, asked to be on, you know, TV and podcasts. And again, this is my heart beating like, oh my gosh, you know, talking about this work. Again, it's important, but it's very uncomfortable. And so, you know, as I ask and invite people to practice love, right? Like I'm practicing it. I'm practicing listening to folks. I'm practicing opening my heart and sharing, practicing vulnerability, and showing up, practicing empathy. And so, and just some examples of some other things that were happening, you know, my family and I were asked to write in this book this year. It launched in May, Authentic Selves, celebrating trans and non-binary people and their families. And it's like a whole book of trans and non-binary folks. And this was really, talk about heart-centered and just some deep healing and work within our communities, especially what's happening. Amber, you named it, right? What's happening in communities and you know, all over the world. And so this message is so important to get out there. And so that happened this year. The Chamber of Commerce in my area wanted me to start holding spaces around co-creating inclusive business and spaces. And Global Women Club in New York invited me to talk about love and my message. And, you know, and so our impact, you know, we've worked with the Chamber of Commerce, we've worked with Big Brothers Big Sisters, we've worked with some banks and a lot of those organizations. And what we're finding is like people are showing up for this because I believe it is time, right? Like there's a calling, you know, in the universe right now for more love and for more heart-centered leaders. And so, you know, and folks saying like, wow, you know, this is what we need. We need more of this. We need more of revolutionary love. We need more of heart-centeredness. And I love, this is one of my favorite quotes is, you know, Maya Angelou says, you know, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So I always think about when I show up, even though this is a lot of information, because I wanted to also have it be informative so you knew who I was and what my work was really grounded in. What's most important for me is, you know, how you all feel, you know, how this made you feel and how I can be of service to you all as you continue to be heart-centered leaders yourselves. And so, yeah, we have a few minutes. If there are any questions or takeaways or anything that came up for you that resonated, you being a heart-centered leader, because you're here because you're a heart-centered leader. So anything that you want to share, we have a few minutes. So feel free to unmute yourself.
You need to be on Sister Rocky's show. I'm doing it again. Sorry, Angelica. I'm volunteering you and I'm volunteering my sister here. I have an issue with that. When I see a good connection, I'm like, you need to go over there because our community is made up for this platform. Like Sister Rocky over here has 40K of followers on LinkedIn, and she's a powerhouse. And so if you want to be seen, this is where you need to be. And I'll introduce you to the Hounds of Business with Mike, because Mike is our fearless leader. And we need to show up for each other, and we need people like you who wants to deliver, not by, see, I see people, you talk a lot about a game, but I don't see your actions. I'm bouncing. I will stay, but I'm bouncing. I stay away from that because I love people who show up for themselves, but show up with actions. Because I can give you a whole list of talk, literally. Okay. I could be here for 24 hours talking about talk. But then I want to see actions. What are you doing for your community? People are like, we need to make money. I know we are going to make money. That's why we're on LinkedIn, because we all want to make money. But at the end of the day, what is your impact and what is the legacy that you're giving us? Because we're already towards the exit. We need the youth. We need the people that makes a decision. There's only a handful of people that makes a decision of our lives, okay? But we can't be taking it all the time and said, complain, complain, complain. What are you doing in your community that gets us going? And each and every one of you here is doing something, and you have a platform to do it, but we can go bigger by collaborating, right? And so I'm volunteering you two to go on her show. She has a show on Saturdays. And Amber has an audio room, so you definitely can collaborate with Amber of that, right? And Ollie, and you guys are invited to my global summit, whether a speaker or a participant. But I'm making a movement, people, to level up. I don't care what you're leveling up, just level up your community and stay positive, because we all go through life. God knows I'm going through life right now really hard. I wanted to go in the cave for a little bit there, but at the same time, my mission is bigger than my adversity. So we're going to keep moving forward at the end of the day. And Ollie, I'm praying for you that you will feel better. I know you don't feel good, brother, and you showed up. And you showed up. That's what I call commitment to yourself. So thank you for showing up. I'm going to be quiet now.
No,
Thank
and yeah,
Thank
all
you.
of
I feel a bit better. It's just my hands that really, but it's okay.
yeah, and maybe we can do like a one word or one phrase kind of check out, as we close. Where are you? How are you feeling? What do you want to say? Just bringing your voice in the space if possible. And if you can't speak right now, you can also type, because we want to get your sentiments and your feelings in.
Well, if I may, I do have a hard stop, but so I wanted to say, one of the things that I always leave my show with is make connections. We are always one connection away from changing somebody's life in a positive way, or have that one connection change our lives, right, in a positive way. Lead with love and lead with kindness. You can never go wrong with that. So
Nice. Thank you, Raquel. Thank you, Raquel. Yes. Anyone else?
Jerry, you have your face now. Bring in your voice, brother. All you gotta do is push that unmute button. He's like, I'm trying to figure out. I don't know where it is. It's down below to the left. He's typing. How about you, Amber? Amazing webinar. Have to leave early. Bye, Paris. Oh, she already left. Okay.
For me, I'll just close out what I've started closing my post out with. And it's part of my tagline: tiny ripples become waves, become a tsunami of love. And becomes a tsunami of anything. If we pour in hate, that's going to ripple out into waves and become a big tsunami of it. If we pour in love, we'll get the same thing. We pour in acceptance, we pour in inclusion. And that's what I look at. My room I created so that I could have hard conversations with people on topics that you don't want to talk about. And trans rights is a big, big polarizing topic. And my way of talking about it is, let's just be open. Let's unpack what your fear is. Let's unpack your doubt. Let's unpack whatever that is. Because I'm not going to be able to talk to you. I'm not going to be able to get you to include those people, to be accepting of those people, if I can't have a conversation with you. I need to get you to the water's edge to teach you how to swim. If you're afraid of the water, I'm never going to be able to do that. So I have to lead with love. I have to lead with acceptance. And even if you don't have the grace and space to do that yet, that's what that room is about, is so that I can help you get there, because that's what I want everybody to get there. I told somebody today, I don't have boundaries. And it gets me in trouble professionally and personally, very, very seriously, because I want to believe that everybody is good, that everybody is full of value, and everybody leads with intention, and everybody that comes into my space is the same as me, but they're not. And so the second I start recognizing that you're pushing, you're running over me, my boundaries, I become no boundaries to all boundaries, like the wall of China times 15 straight up to the clouds. You're not getting in. We're done. We're done here. If you have a dragon from Game of Thrones to burn down my wall, great. Otherwise, you're not getting through until I allow that. And that is something that I think we do as a protection. We do as a protection barrier. And I look at my kid, and anybody who identifies as trans right now, and they're all having to put these walls up in every aspect of their life to be protected, to be safe, to feel included within themselves, and have that much hate in every single corner, from your media to your news to your social. It's a lot to deal with. And so for my room, it's about, let me teach the parents who don't know how to have those hard conversations, the parents who are angry, who are scared, who are afraid, like whatever your deal is, talk to me about it so that I can help you take off that trans label that's on your kid and see that it's your kid. And at the end of the day, as parents, we have our children, honestly, like we're just supposed to love them and support them, lift them up, build them up. And that's what I want to be able to teach other parents, that it's perfectly okay that if you're upset, this wasn't your plan, what your kid decided, but to realize that that isn't your life to choose. Your child's life is theirs to choose. And we just have to love them for it. Whatever that is, however hard that is, you have to love them for it, because as parents, that was our only job. That was our only job, was to raise them, love them, support them. So for me, that is why I do the room. That's why I do the work. And what I tell people at the end of my show is the hope is that those tiny ripples are like little conversations. So if you leave my room and you don't have a trans kid, you're just somebody in the community, and you hear someone say something, you can go, wait, no, I know this. That's not true. And this is why. And you have that little conversation with that person, that's a ripple. And that person then has another conversation with somebody else. And eventually we go from this really hot temperature topic right now to a lower temperature where we can see one another and actually have a conversation. So that's my hope. that's my tagline.
I love it. I love that, seeing the passion, because like I said, we are working within ourselves with different kinds of zone of geniuses that we have. And if you lead by love and good intentions, it will be there. And sometimes we're not for everybody, and it's okay, right? We're not for everybody, but the ones that we attract is the ones that need to be there. And it takes a while to dig to that diamonds, right? Like it's rough rock. You gotta just keep going at it. And I'm so jealous between Angelica and Oliver with this heart thing. That's it. Next time I'm finding my heart necklace somewhere. Oh, and I'm like, wait,
You don't need that. You have your own heart in your chest. So it's
no,
all
look, I have heart. It's just tiny.
in
I have
fact,
this in 2006. My Mother's Day gift from my kid, 2000. I've never taken it off, even if I go swimming in the ocean. I don't care if it turns black or blue, whatever. I've never taken it off. Because that's how I feel like I'm close to my kids, even though we're, they're far away. But I wanted to thank you guys so much. I want to be respectful of your time. It's 10:04. I appreciate you. Please connect on LinkedIn. If you have a chance, go ahead and submit your LinkedIn link on the chat right now. And I'll give you about a couple of seconds to do that, so you guys can connect. And Angelica, I'll connect you with my sis Rocky. She has a show on Saturday, and you want to be seen and heard. That's going to be again, I'm inviting you guys for my global summit. It's 12, 13, and 14. If you want to be a speaker, let me know. I'm still open. I have a lot of application, but I'm only picking the heart-centered leaders within my team. And if you also want to sponsor your company, you can. And I don't know yet if I have enough. Oh, I love that, Jerry. I love the laws of attraction. I don't know yet if I'm going to be on owning a TV network or not, but I am toying that towards the summit so that we can be seen more on TV. I don't know yet. So please pray for that discernment and wisdom, guys. Okay, for me. And that way our community.
Thank you, Angelica. Thank you so much, Angelica, for sharing your love. And we need more space where they can express as they are.
Yes. And he's in, I don't know, what time is it right now in Belgium?
Oh, it's 7 p.m.
Wow.
Not too late. I was like, not too late. Australia people are like 3 a.m. My brother team replay. I'm like, yes, you'll be team replay. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. I love you guys. Lead with kindness. Okay. Lead with kindness. Bye, everybody.
I'm putting my LinkedIn now. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you, Amber.